Welcome to Cartography. I'm Kip, that's Rush, and today we're going to be taking a look at my good buddy Sam's E39 M5.
So this is a 2000 E39 M5 built in 1999. Every E39 came with BMW's S62 engine. It's a 4.9 liter V8 that makes about 390 to 400 horsepower depending on who you ask. I've always loved the E39 M5 and BMWs in general, so I was always looking around, online, as any car enthusiast does, at the cars that you love, and I found this on Bring a Trailer one day, and I was like, I'm not going to get it. There's no way I'll win it. And then I didn't place any bids on it. That was up until like a minute left in the auction. I decided to, on a whim, place a bid, and it just kept counting down and kept counting down until it said it was mine. And that was a pretty scary moment, but also a really happy one. One of the things I love about this car is that it has a personality. There's cars out there, and many cars out there, that just don't have that. And this creates it with the sound of the engine and the way that it delivers the power and the way that it feels to get into it and drive it every day. It has the best driving feel of any sedan that I've driven. It really feels connected to the road, no matter if you're driving it just around town or if you're really ragging it hard on a mountain road. As well, the engine just really is extremely emotive. It makes you feel like something's happening in just normal everyday driving. The noises it makes and the way that the throttle responds is just fantastic.
So right off the get-go, one thing I do notice is the steering is crazy light. I love it. Revs up really, really quickly, actually. Sounds good. One thing I noticed being in the passenger seat was you can, when you're just driving normal speeds, kind of not really pushing it very much, it actually is very, very quiet. It feels luxurious, very compliant. It has more than enough power for everyday use. It doesn't feel underpowered whatsoever. It feels really tight, which I like. I think the shifter has a good throw to it. Maybe there's a slight amount of vagueness, but very little. The steering does weight up with sport mode. It's a very comfortable seat. That's another thing I notice. Very comfortable to sit in it. I can definitely see long distance this would be a comfortable car to be in. Build quality feels very nice. It doesn't feel dated very much to me. It feels like it's a pretty modern interior space. Other than the screen, that's the only thing I would say dates it. Other than that, though, everything in terms of driving it drives well. I really do like the steering. I think that's what stands out to me on this car. And it sounds very good too.
So what does this wiggly thing in the middle do?
I'm not too sure, honestly. You can press it if you want.
I like it. I don't know what it does, but yeah, instantly I like it. It does feel really tight, even at kind of lower speeds. It kind of feels, especially with the steering in sport mode, I can feel that weight, which I like a weightier steering rack, so that kind of suits me. I like feeling like I'm muscling it around a little bit. And it's interesting because even though it's really compliant on the road, it doesn't feel wallowy at all, and typically there's a trade-off somewhere. If it's going to be comfortable at all, it's going to feel like it doesn't have super controlled body motions, but this really, it feels super composed.
Not a lot of roll.
No, there's a little bit, but it's compared to what you would think it would be, not much. Ooh, that was a bad heel toe. I would say, the shifter it's a little bit vague. Not as vague as my E34 with worn out bushings, but it's good, and honestly, any manual transmission these days I won't complain about. It's just so much better than all the DCTs and autos and such. The motor, the power delivery is super smooth. It feels like a very grown-up way to go fast.
Oh yeah, it really does. Yeah.
It's not very boy racer, and I would say if I had a criticism, and this is just coming from me personally, how I like my cars, is that I wish it felt a little bit more like it was trying to set itself on fire. I wish it felt a little bit more dangerous.
Well, yeah, and if you're buying, I mean, if you're buying an M5, you're not looking for that experience, right? So for like the vast majority of people who would buy this car, which is to, one, have something that's luxurious but have the power behind it, I feel like this car does a good job of blending that. And to me, it kind of reminds me of if you're a grown-up but you know your roots.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
So you buy something that is a little bit rough around the edges in some ways, but it has a refinement that you can enjoy it every single day. And it's very, very pared down. You don't have a lot of fluff in here.
Yep. It's got really good
response.
Throttle tipping. Yeah, you feel like you know exactly how much power it's going to give you at all times. It's just razor sharp.
It's very linear throughout.
It really, really is. Yeah, this is, I mean, this is such a solid car. Now, here's the big question for everybody in the car. Would you take this over any or all of the M5s that have come past?
I would.
I would.
I would as well. Especially with the BMW electric steering is some of the worst steering I've ever felt in my life. Absolutely. It is so bad, and this is so refreshingly accurate and direct. It's not, I would say, some cars have steering that I would describe as grainy, where you feel every pebble, every bump. It's not that, but you still feel like you know what the front end is doing, which is what the steering rack should give you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think actually, you know what, in terms of would I take another M5 over this, it depends on the situation. I think if I had the funds and the garage space to have an M5 for its intended purpose, which is an everyday usable but powerful enough car for touring, I may take something newer. But if I got a newer one, I would have to get like an E46 M3 or something like that.
Yeah, you'd have to have something that is a true driver's car, because this is, despite being a luxury sedan, this is a true driver's car.
It is. Deceptively so.
Exactly.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if you're trying to find a blend of both, I think this is a really good blend of both. I think there's one, I mean, the compromise is obviously you're gonna have to give up some of the luxury features, which for me, I like that. I don't like a lot of tech in my cars. I like it to be as simple as it can be. So I'm absolutely okay making that trade-off every single day of the week. Honestly, I feel like this car drives better than I thought it was going to. It's much sportier than I thought it was going to be.
I think it is in a lot of ways the embodiment of everything you want an M5 to be. It's quiet, it's comfortable, it's spacious, but when you want to push it, it gives you all of the things you want from a driver's car. It's sharp, it's tight, it's communicative, it sounds really, really good, and it's one of those cars that you do start to lose yourself in. You don't really think about the car that you're in. You start to just think about the experience of driving, and not a lot of cars really do that. But it's overall, it is really impressive. And Sam, I want to thank you for letting us whip it a bit.
Thank you, Sam.
It's been great. Love you.
All right, so there you have it. The E39 M5 it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's very much a sleeper, but when you actually get behind the wheel, it is actually a special car. I can 100% see why these things are going up in value. If you are looking into one of these, I don't even really like BMW, but I would say buy this. Absolutely. That's Kip.
That's Rush.
And stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to be looking at a 2013 Audi TT RS. So stay tuned for that video, and we will see you in the next one. Ha ha ha.